Hey, Amy,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat.
It's Baseball ShangriLA with Amy Cuevas and Juan Ramirez.
What's up, party people? She is Amy Cuevas.
Actual party people. Sorry, I cut off your intro. Carry on.
It's your show. It's your world, and we're just living on it, living in it. Welcome to another episode of Baseball ShangriLA. She is Amy Cuevas, and I am Juan Ramirez. Let's get the business out of the way. If you are listening to us on the podcast, please make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. Rate us, write us a review, help spread the word that way. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us comments. We love engaging with you guys. Most importantly, make sure you're following us on social media on X at BB ShangriLA, on an Instagram, Threads, and Twitch at Baseball ShangriLA. Let's start the show the way our new tradition begins. And a pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Amy, ¿cómo estás? How was your weekend?
It was great. We're heading into my birthday week though, so that's a little bit more exciting. I will say we have a couple milestones. We have officially been on this show for 2 months, and this weekend we hit 100 followers on YouTube, subscribers. So thank you to everybody out.
I'm sorry, I hit the applause too early. You were in the middle of a sentence, weren't you?
Oh, I'm just so grateful for everybody who listens, and come on, you can do it. Okay, so for those of you who are watching, for those who are not, Juan has a Mac computer, so he can do all the fun little finger generated, I don't know what you call them, confetti, balloons, thumbs up, everything that an Apple computer can do. So he just gave us all confetti.
Yes. So again, we can't thank you enough. I know 100 subscribers doesn't seem like a big number to you guys, but it's a big number to us because we started the show. We had no budget. We had no advertising. We really haven't put anything into advertising. We really have been relying on word of mouth. So we can't thank you guys enough that you guys are out there spreading the word about the show. I know Amy always kids around and says to me, Juan, if 5 people listen to the show, I'll be happy with that. So, again, we can't thank you enough for that. And yeah, it's been a little over 2 months that we've been doing this show. So slowly but surely, I think we're working out the kinks and kind of getting a hang of what's going on, right, Amy?
Yeah, we've even got we've got Dodgers Azul. I don't know their actual name, but him and his wife, she's getting him with the, give me that beat. So apparently they've been watching so many of our episodes. So again, just thank you to everybody.
And then we've buried the lead because this is not only an important day for Amy, because at the time we are recording this, it is Monday, April 8th. And Amy, can you let the people know what does Monday, April 8th mean?
It's Rex Manning Day. I made cupcakes. So if you guys are movie watchers, Empire Records from the 90s, it is officially Rex Manning Day. It's also my birthday eve, and we had an eclipse today. So lots of stuff going on.
Yes, it is. This has been a jam-packed day. So before we start talking about the Dodgers and their series in Chicago, I do want to add one more thing. Amy had a very big weekend, and there's a segment that we have on the show called Amy in the Balcony. And so Amy got to watch WrestleMania this weekend. So for those of you who know, like, it was WrestleMania 40 this weekend. It was both on Saturday and on Sunday. And for those of you who know me and my history, know I'm a big wrestling fan. So Amy was texting me with excitement about her watching WrestleMania 40. So we're gonna get Amy's review of WrestleMania 40. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for another segment of Amy in the Balcony.
It's me, Amy, in the balcony.
You took that as excitement. You took that as excitement.
Okay, so before you give us our review, I just want to explain. Amy speaks Italian. Okay, so when you guys hear that voice of "It's a me, Amy," I was not aware that Amy spoke Italian until I went to a Dodger game. Actually, our last Dodger game last week when we were at the Dodgers, he got this game when Shohei hit his first home run. That Amy broke out the Italian at me, so we're going to incorporate that in the show. But Amy, please give us your review of WrestleMania 40.
I actually speak little kid. That's actually a shout out to my best friend's nephew because he will walk around being, "It's me, Maiko." So that has become my greeting when I call her house. Her husband will say, "It's me, Amy." So I don't know that I
But
speak
Amy was walking
Italian.
around Dodger Stadium going, "It's a me, Amy."
I think you gave me the accent, but we'll go with it. We'll go with it. It was not actually excitement that I was texting you with. It was disdain because she called me on FaceTime because she's a huge wrestling fan as well, and was having me watch The Rock against John Cena, and she was like, "Ricky's to Nikki," and it was mayhem. I have no idea what was going on. They were stalling for somebody named Cody. I, I was only texting you because I was like, I don't know what I'm watching. Where's Bautista because he's part of our argument and we need to see him and his acting chops in the wrestling ring. So I have no review only because I have no idea what was going on with wrestling. That's your domain. You, my best friend Hillary, all of you wrestling people out there, I'm sure you had fun observing your wrestling Super Bowl this weekend.
So I just want to backtrack it to a couple of things. One is for those of you who are listening on the podcast, Amy held up. She made some cupcakes for Rex Manning Day. So she is quite the baker. So that's a hidden talent that she was showing. What kind of cupcakes are those, Amy?
They're angel food cake because I did it on my lunch. I didn't have time to make anything snazzy.
So I am going to. So she gave us her version, her review of WrestleMania 40. I'm going to give you what Amy texted me. So this is going to be a reenactment of what I got. First of all, I got a picture of The Rock versus John Cena in the middle of the ring. So just to clarify, Amy, the match was actually the main event between Cody Rhodes and he was facing Roman Reigns. And The Rock has aligned himself with Roman Reigns. Okay. I'm explaining this part of the male soap opera that we like to call professional wrestling.
As
But
long as
then
we get to our Cubs breakdown, you do you.
and here's the message. So I get that picture, and then right underneath this picture, here's the comment. What in the bromance hell is happening? Are they gonna kiss? Where is Bautista? Okay, so this is live commentary of the last 5 minutes of this insane main event. That with these are all surprises, Amy. Nobody expected John Cena to show up, so that was a big. This is why people were losing it. Then we get another surprise because then the Undertaker shows up. So then Amy sends me a screenshot of The Rock with the bell about to hit the Undertaker before the Undertaker choke slams The Rock. And then this is the message I get. Now there's old people fighting. Hillary is making me watch this on FaceTime. So that is the end of Amy's fabulous review of how much she loved WrestleMania 40. And this is, hey guys, wrestling is back because when was the last time that a non-fan like Amy would be watching wrestling? So, I mean, there's Monday Night Raw tonight. Are you going to watch, Amy?
No, that was only because I love my best friend and she had me watch it. That was only she does stuff for me. I don't know what I watched, but I will not get those, I don't know, however many minutes back in my life. But it made her happy. So
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another segment of Amy in the balcony with a great review of WrestleMania 40. Let's get on to the Dodgers versus the Cachorros in Chicago. The Dodgers lose their first series of the season, losing 2 out of 3 to the Cachorros, the Chicago Cubs. Amy, what were your thoughts on the series?
I was bummed because I feel like they lost to the Cubs and the Rain. Otani got his second home run, and just as a shout out, we need to keep an eye out because Jose Ayala said that by the end of this week, Otani will lead the team in home runs. So We are supposed to revisit that at some point because that is his prediction. But
That's right, Jose. We keep receipts on this show. So you put yourself out there, bro. So we're waiting to see at the end of the week. So right now, Mookie has 5, Shohei has 2,
isn't he tied with?
Teoscar has
He's
4.
tied with Rojas right now, isn't he?
Yes, Shohei finally caught up to Miguel Rojas, the powerhouse. So continue, please, Amy.
Yeah, so Yamamoto got into a couple scrapes on Saturday, but he got himself out. I think he pitched really well. He even came back after the rain delay. And then I'm sure we'll get to it in a second, but Rojas he kind of argued on behalf of all the players on Sunday because the rain conditions, the umps were trying to get just to the 5th inning, and he like kind of called a stop to the game and was like, "Hey, I'm speaking on behalf of all the players. This is how people get hurt." And like I said, we'll get into it, but I feel like we got to see lots of personalities and lots of things happening in that game, in those games, even though maybe we didn't take the series.
Well, let's get into it right now because I know that people are going to use the weather, not necessarily as an excuse, but a contributing factor as to why the Dodgers lost that series. Because
And
not
there's
only
there's no lie there though. That's a part of the reason they lost.
I mean, I want to start with Friday's game because it was very cold there. It was obvious, like Mookie was wearing his thermals underneath that you could tell like that he was very cold. Now, all right, let's just focus then with the weather. So it was cold, but Sunday's game, that was a little too much. Like I understand what was happening there right from the beginning. When I saw what the infield was looking like, I told my daughter, I said, they're not going to stop this game. They're trying to get at least 5 innings in so they can call this an official game because of the fact they don't want to reschedule this game. They don't want to deal with that, even though this was pointed out. I want to give credit to Jack Harris of the LA Times for this. There was a period that the Dodgers and the Cubs, after they play in Los Angeles, the day after that series, both of those teams are off. So you could have played that game. However, the rest of that game, you would be playing it at Dodger Stadium as opposed to Wrigley Field. But I
the
get
way
that.
those guys were slipping around, like it wasn't just Rojas's play that like didn't make it and he's getting charged with an error. There was a lot of backlash on social media that, oh, he just didn't want to get, the error charged to him, or he's just arguing because they're losing the game. If you listen to what he said, he was arguing on behalf of all players out there. People were slipping when they would hit the ball, try to run to the base, and they would slip at home plate. Like they were not safe conditions. And is that really like, are you trying to get to 5 innings but you're going to injure players that need to be there for the whole 162 games, which is what he was arguing. And I agree with his stance.
I think what happened at that point is because they allowed the game to go that far. And I mean, and there was that poor sequence where you saw the field crew just basically lay down a whole new infield because there was everything was glowing off of the infield. At that point, I think Miguel Rojas was justified in being upset in the sense of you guys allowed this to go this far. And it's just, oh no, you guys don't care about us because
and they were gonna sit too, like you said. We're here till 7 or whatever. We're gonna sit whether you stop it after the 3rd inning or you stop it after like I complain in the 4th. Either way, we're still gonna sit and wait this out. So how about we sit and be safe about it?
Yeah, I don't think the crew handled it that well. Like I said, I acknowledge they made the attempt to try to get through 5 innings, but when it was becoming obvious that there were puddles all over the infield, they had an obligation to stop that game. Now, I know, like I said, that the weather was bad all weekend, but it was particularly bad on Sunday. It didn't seem to affect the Cubs because the Cubs handed it to the Dodgers this weekend. So what I want to do before I go all Prince of Darkness on all you guys, I do want to go ahead and point out some of the good. You had mentioned that Ohtani had hit his 2nd home run. Ohtani, it seems like he's starting to get his timing back. He went 6 for 13 in that series. Not only did he have the home run, but he had 2 doubles. I think that's very encouraging.
It's almost like he said that last week. Huh.
I mean, another guy that we have to continue to give Care Bear stares. Here's a taco Care Bear stare, and that is to Will Smith. I mean, Will Smith is killing it. He's hitting over 400 right now. And Teoscar Hernandez continues to be very productive at the plate. He has 14 RBIs on this short season. But my real taco Care Bear stare, I'm saving it for the man who probably catches the most strays on this team, and that's Austin Barnes. Austin Barnes had 2 hits. He's hitting over 600, ladies and gentlemen. So this may be the only time this year that I can give Austin Barnes a taco Care Bear stare. And for that, Austin Barnes, you get a taco Care Bear stare.
I texted you before it happened too, and I was like, magic. It's almost like he was just supposed to hit twice in that game.
You know what? Another person that I think deserves a taco Care Bear stare, and you had mentioned him, and that was Yamamoto. Yamamoto went 5 innings. He only gave up 3 hits. He had 8 Ks. Gave up 2 walks. But again, this was another strong outing, even though it was 5. It was another strong outing, and I think that it's really doing wonders for his confidence because, as Amy likes to say, his ERA was 45, and now, Amy, do you know what his ERA is down to?
Oh, hold on, let me check the back of my scorecard. It's 409.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I just had to check the back of my scorecard.
Nerd alert! Beware, beware. There is a nerd in the vicinity.
Hey man, someone's nerding out over here.
So not only did Amy nerd out there, but she also gave a shout out to the product, the cleaning product 409. So thank you very much for that, Amy. One thing I do want to point out here, and I want to make sure that I give credit to Jack Harris for this.
Whoa. Before that, Yamamoto got out of 2 bases loaded jams in the first and the second inning too. So kudos to him while we're still giving him kudos. Back to Jack Harris.
Well, no, but in that, I think so. Jack Harris had said that, and in his last outing, Yamamoto had mentioned that he was still working. He made it very clear in spring training that he was having problems pitching out of the stretch, and the reason why he looked so much better in his previous outing than the Chicago Cubs was because he was working on the mechanics of it, right? So Jack Harris had said the big adjustment Yamamoto has made is his glove position from the stretch. So it started when the infielders on the team noticed that they could see him change grips, especially his splitter. So they alerted the pitching coaches to that, and they worked on it with Yamamoto on a different set position. I know this is something you had brought up before. Why are you laughing at me? Now what?
It's almost like 3 spring training games wasn't enough to get him adjusted, and he's just going to continue getting better as the season goes on.
Why do you mock me? Why do you mock me?
I'm not mocking you.
Am I just a joke to you? Is that the reason why you do this show?
Absolutely. That's what I woke up for this morning. I was like, birthday week, make fun of Juan. Done. Actually, that was the end of my list.
So far through 4 series in this season, what has become very clear to me, and this is something that I think people were predicting into the preseason, was that this Dodgers offense was going to be insane. And so far, they are 3rd in Major League Baseball in base and batting average. They are 1st in runs. They are 1st in home runs. They are 2nd in slugging. So for me, the good is this Dodgers offense. Hopefully they can continue to carry this on. But Amy, now we segue to your favorite part of the show.
Well, I was actually just going to say, I think it was Codify. I'd have to double check, that dropped a list that was like with the teams with the first 2 hitters in the lineup, like what the rankings were. And the Dodgers were first. That's not even counting in Freeman and Will Smith. Like, we managed to lead that list just with the tear that Mookie is on, and then Shohei finding his timing.
Yeah. So I mean, look, it's helping out. So let's segue into the bad of this series. I don't know. Do you have any bad? I know you are the princess of positivity, but is there anything you want to point out?
I mean, it's baseball. Our offense wasn't as boisterous, obviously, on Sunday. Like we were able to cobble together a hit and bring in a run. I think we only had like four. I think four hits in that game. But the weather, that's just they're professionals. I get it, but I can't. I don't like walking around in the rain, in the cold. So I can't imagine having to play 9 innings and be freezing and try to like keep my grip on the ball or catch the ball or be in a puddle. So I mean, I don't have too much negative to say here. What do you have on your list, Prince of Darkness?
Well, I mean, their streak of scoring 5 runs. They had 9 games in a row that they had scored 5 runs, and that came to an end this weekend. But Mookie didn't have a good series in Chicago. Mookie went 1 for 11 in the series. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pile on Mookie because, like you said,
He
this is
also walked
baseball.
3 times too. So while that doesn't count hit wise, he still got on base. So let's give the man some credit.
Um, Gavin Stone went 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 5 runs. Now, only one of those runs was earned because they gave Federico an error on that play. Now, did you see the play? I thought it was a tough error to give him because I felt like it was a little bit of a bad hop, but nobody seemed to have argued that call because I think they originally had given it a hit and then they changed it to an error. But as a result of that, it saved Gavin Stone's ERA a little bit. But I think the weather was affecting Gavin Stone, especially in terms of his grip. And I think this goes back to Miguel Rojas's argument here. Not only were the infielders struggling with the conditions of the field, but they brought out new rosin bags because the rosin bags were soaked. So it seemed for a guy like Gavin Stone, who depends a lot on his off-speed pitches to not be able to get a grip on the ball. I think that affected him. I also think that we are still in the very early stages of Gavin Stone's career, and I think consistency is still something that we're going to have to see him work on. So he was solid against the Cardenales, and he looked a little more human here. Go ahead, say it. I look at you. You're chomping at the bit.
I just he's he hasn't even been up a full year yet. He's still I think he still retains his rookie status. He's gonna need to settle in. It's where he's gonna have good days, he's gonna have bad days. He is still learning. So you gotta give the guy some break. Like just give him a
Look,
break.
I wasn't criticizing him.
No, no, no.
I'm
It
trying
just
to tell the fans it's like this is what you need to expect from him, and be realistic. There may be a good start, and then the next one is not going to be as good. I think this is what he needs to work on, and I think that's what separates. For you to be able to stay in the major leagues for a long time is the consistency. Can you go out there every start and do the same things over and over again? That's all I'm saying there.
Yeah.
Bobby Miller did not have a good start on Friday. Like, it was crazy because he started off in that first inning striking out the side, and all I saw all over Twitter was, Bobby Miller's going to win a Cy Young. Bobby Miller's the greatest pitcher ever. And then in that second inning, like, everything fell apart, and Bobby Miller he couldn't get any of his breaking pitches over the plate. And we all think Bobby Miller is a great pitcher. We all expect great things from Bobby Miller. But that's a perfect example of if you don't have movement on your pitches, if you're just throwing stuff flat right over the plate, these are major league hitters. They are going to rock you. What did you see from Bobby Miller?
I honestly, when I saw him start to slip a little in the second inning, I was like, I'm gonna go look up Chicago's weather. And I think at the time it was like low 40s. I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way I could throw a ball, professional or not. Obviously not. But how could you not have trouble if you're not used to that? You throw in Southern California and what Yamamoto threw in like one of the rare games that had rain. Like to me, it made sense. It's a learning opportunity, but I mean, he struggled and then he got pulled and he had a couple wild pitches in there and they bit us.
Look, I'm hoping that that is a one-off from Bobby Miller. It's just one of those games that anybody could have any of those games. The other thing, though, again, I know we're making a lot of issues about the weather, but it didn't seem to affect the Cubs in 2 out of those 3 games. Imanaga, this was a guy that there had been rumors if the Dodgers didn't get Yamamoto that they would perhaps go after Imanaga. Imanaga has had a very good start to the season for the Chicago Cubs. He didn't seem to be having the same issues that Gavin Stone or Bobby Miller had in this series. So I
They
look,
they also
I,
live there. They are practicing there every day, so they're used to it. Again, the Dodgers are not going to use this as an excuse or a reason. The fact is, we lost 2 games out of 3. It is what it is. Whether it's weather, whether it's what, somebody just wasn't having a good day. Newsflash: we're going to lose games. So it happened. Hopefully, they bounce back and they do better the next time.
yes, they're still in first place and they have a 3-game lead. So it's not the end of the world. But in the last episode, Amy, I had mentioned that there was a reliever who I was concerned about, and I was going to give him the Chicago series before I start going, hey, guys, can we pay attention to that? And that is one Michael Grove. I think we have to start asking the question with Michael Grove because Michael Grove's ERA at this point is 11.74. And I know the Dodgers are trying to use him for length. They especially like to piggyback him with Ryan Yarbrough. So Michael Grove is a guy that they expect him to get. You expect to get multiple innings out of him. But what I'm starting to see, and I'm curious to see if you see this same trend, is Michael Grove seems to be very good his first inning. And then when he comes out for his second inning of work, he looks like a different pitcher and he looks very hittable. Are you seeing that with Michael Grove?
I'm actually looking at the game from Friday when he came in the 6th inning, and he actually had a rough inning when he came in, and then he had a better second inning.
Okay,
So,
so you've completely
I mean,
proven me
well,
wrong.
no, I mean, he's still hittable, but the defense behind him bolstered him. It wasn't like he was striking anybody out either time, but by walking people, giving up a single, if the defense wasn't able to bolster him, he wouldn't have gotten out of that second inning. So either way.
So here are my questions for you, Amy, and that is the Dodgers have been making a lot of moves this past week with their bullpen. So they released Lamet. I felt so bad for him. After I gave him my Care Bear stare last week, and then he gets released. They released him. He had an ERA of 2.08. Now that surprised me. And then they ended up calling up Gus Varland. And now, as of today, at the recording of this show, Gus Varland has been sent down, and who the Dodgers newly acquired, Connor Brogdon, now has been added to the major league roster. So the fact that these Dodgers are trying to add new arms, fresh arms, and we're still in the very early beginning of the season, what surprised me is it looks like Michael Grove is struggling. So would Michael Grove had benefited from maybe being sent down to the minors, try to work out maybe some of the issues he's having, keep Lamet on the roster. He's pitching well. And if he starts going bad, you can release him and then call up Michael Grove. Were you surprised that they let go of Lamet, or are you surprised at all with how much rope they're giving Michael Grove? Because to the start of the season, to me, he has not looked effective.
I mean, I was a little dismayed that they got rid of Lamet because I mean, I think we saw him in 2 games and he did really well, ate up a couple innings. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with Grove at this point, but as we've seen with this front office, I'm sure we'll find out. Maybe they're seeing something and they're just fine-tuning something that we just aren't aware of at this point, and we'll see it play out. Maybe they're going to give him a little bit more length before they, we've seen it with Lux. They're giving him some opportunities to grow in his position. Maybe they're doing the same for Grove.
Absolutely. So before we wrap things up on this episode, guys, I just want to give a quick update. Walker Buehler pitched on Saturday in Oklahoma City. Amy, do you have those numbers?
I do not.
Okay, I have them here. I can give them to you guys. So he was throwing about 93 to 95 miles per hour. He had 5 strikeouts there. He retired the first 9 hitters he faced, and then he ended up retiring 14 of the 16 hitters that he faced. He didn't give up any runs, 6 Ks, no walks. He only gave up 2 hits. The only thing I'm missing, Amy, that I didn't get was I don't know how many innings he ended up pitching, but I know that the Dodgers were talking about Walker Buehler having maybe about 3 or 4 starts, but he made a huge I mean, this performance was a huge upgrade to his previous performance. So he seems, as Dave Roberts had said, he seems to be recovering a lot quicker than they anticipated. I know as of this weekend, the last update they provided is he may make one more start in the minor leagues, and they're talking about him making that start at Rancho Cucamonga before he gets called up. So it'll be very interesting if that's what they end up doing. The fact that they're going
Could
to
it
have him.
be as soon as this Saturday?
No, I don't think it'll be the. Well, you know what? That would be crazy because that's a perfect time for us to remind you guys that this Saturday, April 13th, Amy and I will be at Rancho Cucamonga with the Quakes for Chaqueta night. It is Las Chaquetas night. Amy and I will be there. So if you guys are going to the game, please look for us. Come and say hi. But wouldn't it be crazy if Walker Buehler ended up pitching in that game?
Oh my
And
gosh,
we
I would
and
die of excitement.
if that happened. But I am very encouraged because I didn't think that we probably would see Walker Buehler until maybe the end of April or early May. But he seems to be making really good progress. Again, I understand these are minor leaguers that he is facing, but we went from a period in spring training where he looked like he wasn't anywhere near close. And now for him to retire 14 of the 16 hitters that he faced, he's looking good. But again, it's consistency. What will he look like if he pitches in Rancho? It's low A, so we'll see. Real quick, last thing before we end the show: the Dodgers open up a series in Minnesota today. 3-game set. We're going to see James Paxton pitching on Monday. Tyler Glasnow will pitch on Tuesday, and Bobby Miller is going to get the start on Wednesday because he went so short on Friday against the Cachorros. The Twins look like a team. They are 3-4 to start this young season, but they seem to be offensively challenged. They are 30th in batting average and 29th. They're next to last in runs. So that being said, I think
Well,
greedy.
we're in for some more cold weather too. So
All right,
depending on how that
because you
impacts
just
the
said
team.
that, it totally changed my mind. I was about to say I think the Dodgers sweep the Gemelos, but because of the weather and especially the way they reacted to the weather in Chicago, I'm going to say they take 2 out of 3 from the Gemelos. What say you?
Same, 2 out of 3. I do, before we leave, I do have a Care Bear stare of my own.
Okay, go ahead.
So I don't know if any of you guys follow the ump scorecards on Twitter or X, but they recently moved also to Instagram. But umpire Alex Tosi on Friday in the game for Boston versus the Angels, Boston won 8-6. He only had 1 missed call. So of the 52 called strikes, he called them accurately, and then he only missed 1 ball out of the 122. So great job, Alex Tosi. Like he is the model that we're looking for. He's the anti-Angel Hernandez.
A baseball with sparkles, a blue baseball with sparkles, Care Bear stare. I think this is the first time I've ever seen an umpire get a Care Bear stare on this show. So
We don't really have
only time.
good ump scorecards. I think that's the first time I've ever seen one where there was only 1 missed call ever.
Since you brought it up, how much weight do you put into those umpire scorecards?
I mean, I don't know what they're using to vet, but I mean, they're interesting to look at. How about that? Am I going to do a research paper on them without knowing the sources? Probably not, but they're interesting to see.
The only reason why I bring it up is because that same account, Umpire Scorecards, posted this. The Dodgers were the second least favored team by 2.5 runs while the Dodgers were the most favored, while the Padres, excuse me, were the show pods were the most favored with almost 4 runs a game. So what that means is based on these umpires' calls, the Dodgers were almost 2.5 negative against them.
Yeah,
And
but
the
isn't
show
that
pods,
what we kind of see sometimes in games where, or at least that's what
but
we,
a lot of
that's what
people
we
don't believe.
fans see.
Exactly, but a lot of people don't buy that, right? That's why I asked you, how much weight do you put into these umpire scorecards? Because a lot of people go, "Oh, get over your guys' self. Not everybody's against the Dodgers, but it does seem like a lot of calls go through the Dodgers." And what umpire scorecards, at least in this past week, is saying is there were a lot of calls that came up to
Go
2.5 runs against them.
go look back. I think that's, at least in my opinion, I think that's accurate. Go look at a bunch of the calls last season against Mookie Betts where they were clearly like balls or strikes and they were called against him. And I don't know if it's because he's the leadoff hitter or what, but how's he supposed to hit in the zone if he doesn't know what the zone is? So yes, before we go on another tangent.
No, and it's funny that you bring up Angel Hernandez because I know he's the poster boy for bad umpiring. But my wife, who knows nothing about baseball, when she watches a game with me, if there's a bad strike call, she says, "What is Angel Hernandez behind the plate?" I mean, it is.
She gets a Care Bear stare too.
All right, let's give her one Care Bear stare before we end the show. Okay, Amy, any last words?
Nope, we said them all.
We get all the words and we said them. So let's take care of some business here. If you've been listening to us on the podcast, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Rate us, write us a review, help spread the word about the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button, subscribe, or leave us a comment. We'd love to engage with you. Follow us on social media at X at BB ShangriLA, on Instagram, Threads, and Twitch at Baseball ShangriLA. She is Amy Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. You have been watching another episode of Baseball ShangriLA. Nos despedimos con un beso. Amy, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.